Minister. The Dairy Association, also Beef and Lamb, and others have expressed real concerns about the responsibility for ensuring traceability rests with gene technology organisms through the supply chain entirely rests in the Animal Products Act or the commercial traceability insurance schemes. And that without a regulatory underpinning by the regulator at the start of the process, when the decision is made to release an organism, then the onus and the cost will fall to all of those non-GMO producers to try and account for their status if they are marketing a product as non-GMO. And there's real concern from industry about, frankly, the unfairness of that, and also the difficulty of traceability if you have organisms that are exempt from any regulatory oversight.
Son, do you want to talk to me?
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of complexity in terms of how traceability works in practice, and there are some decisions to be made about the appropriate place for costs to lie in the system, and it tends to vary from product to product. And I think that's something that I mean, the Minister's indicated he's interested in what the committee thinks and where the submissions go on that. And I think it's something that will be good for us to dig into in greater detail.
So you're open to tightening that up and considering proper traceability?
Certainly open to discussion, yeah.
I've got another one for this time.
We've got 2 minutes, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing that Beef and Lamb pointed out, that they applied for an extension, the Meat Industry Association, Dairy New Zealand and Dairy Companies Association, they all felt it was quite a rushed process, this. They were not able to consult with their farmers, and their farmers weren't happy about that. What is the rush around this when a more substantive, thorough process that allows these very significant industries to properly engage with their members, why is it being so pushed through, and is there not a serious risk of public discontent and industry discontent on something so significant?
So several things. There is a willingness from government to progress this, first of all. Secondly, 15,000 were roughly able to complete the process on time. And thirdly, when I look back at the hazardous substances and new organisms, open bracket, genetically modified organisms, close bracket, amendment bill that came in 2001 was almost exactly the same consultation period, 14th of December 2001 to 1st of February 2002, for a very important bill that looked to add genetically modified organisms to HASNO. So very similar sort of piece of work, albeit the number of submissions was quite less. So at the end of the day, it's actually for the committee to decide when submissions open or close. But I am indicating that we want to progress. It's not actually a court that I know.
Okay, so you're not averse to us taking a bit more time with it?
It is a committee decision, but I am indicating that 15,000 were able to get in on time, and we do want to progress.
All right, we're at time. Hey, thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much.
For all the officials.
Thank you for what you have and what you brought here as you go through these submissions.
Thank you for being here. I know a few of you are still going to be around to submit, and we'll...
Well, that seems to basically be wrapping up what's happened to be, was it? We had a 50-minute half hour.
Well, that was a really good wrap up with Steve Abel, because he brought up a couple of really good points. One being, he mentioned insurance. Who is going to be responsible if something goes wrong? I mean, that's massive, absolutely massive. And is it going to be the ratepayers through their councils? Is it going? I believe that there's no insurance company that's put their hand up and said, "Oh, we'll insure all genetically engineered crops and other things too." So that is huge. Back to the precautionary principle, please. And then the other thing was industry discontent, he mentioned. Well, I think that just recently there was a survey, and 74% of farmers were not interested in going ahead with GE. So 74%. I mean, normally when there's some sort of poll or something, you're doing quite well if you get 49%. So 74 is pretty good. So they don't want it. So why is it being forced on us? So it's time's coming on. So possibly my last comment is that we need a royal commission to look up into the whole thing. And as Steve was saying, we're rushing it through. There's no need to rush something as serious as this through. So
yeah.
Claire.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, he brings up a really good point. I really like what Steve Abel's questions are. They're to the point, and they've really asked the right kind of questions. However, the country has already voted with our GE-free regions. They're the ones whose councils are protecting our environment and their regional economies. This bill is going to remove the right for councils to place GMOs, but what's worse is it's also going to remove the existing councils' right who have placed these precautionary approaches into their long-term plans. And that in itself kind of is a lie to what Retty said is, oh, we'll have a look at this. the bill is actually is not able to allow him to look at this because of the way that they have changed the Resource Management Act and the right of communities to democratically ask their councils to have a GE-free region to protect themselves from the dangers, from the lack of liability, from the lack of insurance, from the contamination. So I would agree with Lisa. We need to have a look and get rid of this bill. I don't know if you said that, Lisa. Sorry.
Well, so basically, yeah, I did. And the thing is, John Carapiet, who's got on a panelist later on, he has tried to get to speak to Auckland Council about this, and they've turned him down. So where's the democracy in that?
Yeah, that's not helpful at all. I mean, how is someone meant to, like, you know, because Auckland Council is quite a vast area, and yes, you have your urban sprawl, but you have all those rural pockets all over the place.
Well, John and I, more than 10 years ago now, got the sort of some sort of limit on GE into the unitary plan, but this has expired now. So yeah.
Can I say the reply that came back was, we will keep it in the plan, but we can't help it if government removes it for us. And as you say, Lisa, they chose not to put their viewpoint about keeping a GMO-free region to the submission process because they didn't have the resources or the time. Now, that is wrong. So I went to the South Wairarapa district council mayor, and he has actually given us a letter of saying that he is highly concerned that the democratic right of his community will not be allowed to do this. So that there are councils who do support and have been able to make their voice heard, like Hastings, like Whangarei.
Well, but look at Whangarei and fluoride. The government is going to make them fine them and possibly send the mayor to prison if they don't put fluoride in the water. Where's the democracy in that?
Well, that's the sort of thing that we need to make sure does not happen in this bill.
That's right.
The other thing too is there is no right, as far as I know, if there is at the moment with Hasno, if they make a decision to release something or field trial it, it can be challenged by the submitters. At the moment, there is no right for submitters to challenge that in this bill. And that there removes the choice, the democratic right, and it's actually a dereliction of duty of care, I believe.
Yeah.
Keep New Zealand GE free.
Oh yes. Oh, great to see that back popping up again. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's no point trying to move on to another submission of we're about to roll over to our next panelist. But yes, your was it quick highlight your experience on today's panel? You felt like you've walked out with more information than you walked in with?
I think I have been able to voice the concerns I have. I think that this ballot was an extraordinarily good way of running an information campaign. And thank you. I loved working with Lisa and with you. So thank you. And let's keep GE free New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd really like to thank you, Sam, for the opportunity to do this. And I appreciate you, accepting various people I recommended to come in. And Claire, as you can see, was a super informed person. So it was wonderful to have her here to back up the things I say with the actual facts.
Yeah. And Steve, you found a whole heap of people I wouldn't have found. Yeah.
So thank you, Sam.
No problem.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, well, we'll get ready to sit there and have a break, and we'll be next up with Marty Robertson, who'll be joining me for the next hour.
Thanks for watching. subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky.